All right. Hi, my name is Blake. I'm currently a PhD researcher in quantum computing, quantum communications, and quantum photonics. Um, I have this really interesting vision of both between YouTube and streaming on probably Twitch. Not a big fan of Kick, probably Twitch. Um, of slowly starting just what my research process is like into maybe doing a couple experiments. I also enjoy robotics. I currently, in my photonics project, do a little bit of robotics. And so I'd like to move into that as well, maybe do some different experiments. Um, and overall, just showing like the engineering and research process. I think it's super, super cool. And I think it can motivate a lot of people. And I think there's already a couple examples of people who have done this, but I don't think they've pushed it to the vision I guess that I have. I kind of have this like my inspirations come a lot from the current Michael Reeves. This is made June 6th, 2026. Michael Reeves right now is really getting into live streaming a lot of his robot builds and love his personality, and I think that there's a lot there that to take from. And then also I'm super inspired by the Maihiga conservationists starting grassroots, starting from just fully funding everything through Twitch and seeing how and making everything super interactive and making it where people get to really be a part of it. And I think currently the like research and academia can feel so far away and like that's just for like other people to do. And my experience has been like, no, like it's just normal people who just were obsessed with an idea and just did it for a while. And I think like Maya has shown that really well. And I think that that model could be really interesting to deinstitutionalize what research is and actually show people what it looks like and have them be a part of it. I guess I really like science museums growing up. And so it's sort of interactive museum through Twitch. I don't know exactly what that is, and maybe I mean my hope in making this is like a time capsule. This is something that here's my vision, here's what I think would be interesting, and where do I end up in 5 years from now? You know, what does this turn into? But yeah, so that's kind of my thought process. I'm gonna start posting and streaming. I think the name I'm going to go by is the name of this channel, which is Hilb Space. A Hilbert space is a really big thing within quantum computing. It's how all of quantum computing is done. It's the mathematical model for quantum computing. And so I thought lab space, Hilb space, Hilbert space. I kind of just put that together. I thought it was a cute name. Um, and yeah, I think there's a really cool opportunity. Not a lot of people know about quantum computing, um, about photonics. There's um, another group called Acatonics that's doing some really cool photonic computing stuff that I'm interested in. Overall, I just want to show people what it's like to build stuff. I think Twitch, there's a lot of gaming, there's a lot of IRL stuff. There's a lot of things that are entertainment based, but I think even there's a couple people like another inspiration of mine is the Primogen who does coding stuff, and I think like it's really interesting that there's a space out there of people who are really interested in coding, and so using that uh, to be able to just share and talk about that with people. And I think there's a quantum computing. It's either super technical, that the information that's out there is either super technical or it's really abstract or intuitive, and you're like, okay, cool. I mean, that sounds interesting, but I don't really know what that means. And really, the I think the only way I've been able to understand it is just you just kind of have to do it, or what I want to do, which is be the middle ground of showing kind of what the process looks like. What are some of it can become very intuitive once you see certain things, but seeing certain concepts is very difficult. And so I want to start to kind of create a channel around that, around also just like kind of demystifying a lot of these quantum computing concepts, and yeah, just building stuff and getting people excited about um, science, and just love of the research game, I guess. And just I guess also like the philosophy, and like the philosophy that, not to say that I'm some genius or anything, but the philosophy, the iterative philosophy of engineering. A lot of people don't know what that is, don't know how to approach problems in a way where you just keep pushing for something that works, and you keep going for what works and what works and what works until eventually you get to something interesting, and you refine every single time. Um, and so it looks really messy, and that process looks really messy, and people don't really like to show the messiness. But I think like the cool part is the messiness. The cool part is you're building a robot, nothing's really working. You've got 100 different components, and it's like, okay, I've only got this much money to work with. And so you just start buying stuff, and then you're hooking it together, and nothing's working. And so you're sitting in a lab for 6 hours one day, and still nothing's working. And then suddenly, like, you get a motor to move, and it's like, whoa, like, cool. That's one little piece that it's like, okay, cool, you got a motor to move. But like that motor to move then turns into, okay, now I can control that motor moving side to side. Maybe another motor goes up and down, and then suddenly now I'm able to also rotate. And so then you've got an arm that's moving in like 3 different axes. And it's like, well, you went from something that didn't really look like anything to now you've got a full controllable robotic arm. And then that you can just like keep pushing that of just the little successes over and over and over again. And I think um, that's a super valuable, just like life skill that I think anybody can learn from. That it doesn't need to just be builders, but people seeing what it's like to just push a little bit each time. Of like, let's say you want to build a business, and you start from like, okay, how do I get one customer? Do I call 1,000 people and try to get them to do that? Do I do a big LinkedIn post? Do I sit there and I create a whole software for a year, and then I go and I sell it? Or do I spend a month on a software, or do I spend a week on a software? Now we've got AI and vibe coding. You just create something that works, it's trash, it's horrible, it's super insecure or whatever, but people are like, wow, this is super useful. And then you go back and you fix it afterwards. And that like that's ultimately how anybody does anything at the end of the day, is you start small. Even this YouTube channel, like it's just me talking to a camera for now, but I mean, who knows, I guess, what this could be. And this is me taking my own step, and hopefully I can encourage other people to just take little steps, little successes over and over and over again. And like I've been reading Atomic Habits lately. I apologize, I forget the author, but Atomic Habits is that whole process of like, you just keep building systems, you keep doing things, you keep um, setting goals, but also building your character, building like little pieces of yourself. Of if you want to start, um, let's say you want to run a marathon, you start figuring out, okay, how do I set up my life where I have an alarm clock that goes up at 6 a.m. and I tune myself that when I wake up, there's like a coffee or something. And so then I do those 2 things, and then suddenly, well, I'm already up and my shoes are right there. And then boom, I'm going for a run and I'm on a marathon. And so like that whole book is like, how do you set things up where it's impossible for you to fail, because the you don't even have to think about these things. You just wake up and they happen and they're natural. Um, and so all of these things are just like, I think, super valuable concept and ideas to, but like I'd call them a wisdom of sorts. And I think that a lot of people really need to hear that and need to see that over anything. I don't think you can hear it a bunch of times. Like I'm somebody who's watched probably millions, thousands to 10,000s to 100,000 YouTube videos at this point. Like who knows how many. But how many of them have genuinely like done something for me? I can't really say, because a lot of them are like high level conceptual. You just kind of need to, make your life better. You got to start doing this, bro. You got to start doing that, bro. You got to start doing these different things. And it's like, I mean, yeah, of course I do, but I can't get myself to do that. So how do you go from somebody who maybe isn't doing at all what you want to do to getting yourself to just like build confidence and build like, okay, well, I know that I want to do this, and so I'm going to do the smallest thing that I can do to get in that direction, and I'm going to keep doing that over and over again, and then maybe one day I'll actually be somebody, I'll actually care about something, and I'll actually have something that's worthwhile versus I'm just constantly frustrated, I guess. And this is a battle I've gone through. I think anybody worth their salt goes through this battle, and I think it's a good thing. And I don't know, I'm excited to hopefully inspire a few people, and see where it goes from here, I guess. So yeah, um, that's a little bit about me, and I'm just gonna post this video as it is. See if you guys are interested. I mean, I guess leave a comment, leave a maybe like, subscribe, any of those things. Mostly just comments of like, is this something that sounds interesting? Am I just gonna be doing? I mean, it's very possible I just do this for like 3 years and nothing happens. Um, but it's very possible this is interesting, and so I hope it's the latter. And yeah, thank you.